I thought it would be appropriate that James should read one of his stories from the 365 collection. James wrote a new story every day for a year, exactly 365 words long, exploring a wide range of ideas, topics, tales and themes. Unlike Will, he responds creatively to ideas that inspire and crafts something new for others to enjoy and appreciate. This tale, Luggy, a bit like Will's work, is half a found object in the form of the folk tale about a fisherman, Luggy, fishing for cooked fish at sea and on land, and who was apparently burnt for being a witch. The other half invention by James comes at the end, prescient indeed as it may well be. So, I'll read the story for you. There was a fisherman in Shetland called Luggy who went to sea with his companions in a long, narrow boat with a mast and a sail. They might be out for days at a time if the fish were not present. Sometimes a terrible hunger would come on them. Luggy had a basket in which he kept a line with a wee lead weight on it. And when they were starving and not a fish was to be had in the whole wide ocean, he would drop this line over the stern of the boat and let it out to its full extent. When he pulled it in, it would be a cod or a plaice, freshly grilled and steaming on the end of the line. He would unhook the fish and share it with his mates. None of them knew how the fish came to be cooked like that, and they did not care to ask. They were famished and the smell was irresistible. Luggy had another trick he liked to play in stormy weather, when he couldn't go out to sea. His house was on the edge of a moor, and he would go to a place where there was a deep, dark hole in the peat, and he let his line down through it, and pulled up a smoked trout or salmon, and take it back to his wife. She preferred a rabbit, but didn't complain. Apart from anything else, there were no pans to clean. This all happened a long time ago. Nobody would believe you if you told such a story nowadays. But back then, people were ignorant and believed all kinds of nonsense. Had Luggy told them, however, that there were billions of gallons of oil at the bottom of the same sea fish, and that the oil could be brought to the surface and used for cooking, heating, manufacturing, powering vehicles, and many other purposes, they'd have shaken their heads at him. No, no. Especially if he'd gone on to explain that it would all be used up in a lifetime, every last drop. Aye, that'll be right. They'd have said, fetch us another fish supper. Great words from James there. It's a great book, well worth picking up if you haven't already copied it. So moving on, looking at some of the Arctic exploration and whaling kind of themes in Will's work. The whaling industry and polar exploration has informed a large part of Will's art, and over his life he's gathered a fascinating collection of related artefacts, scrimshaw, Inuit carvings, ships and bottles and other nautical relics. Baleen, whale bones and other seaborne objects are to be found woven into such breathtaking works as Leviathan Elegy and Logbook 1 Polar Voyage, all in the exhibition. Many of the great whaling boats were based in Dundee, but the skippers would stop in Orkney and Shetland to enlist local crew, who were particularly skilled in the harsh polar maritime environment. Fiddles and mandolins would be taken on board these boats, like the Ballina and the Active, and would provide some light musical relief from the drudgery of whaling. Indeed, Allan here, Allan's father, was a whaler before the Second War, sailing for South Georgia from the port of Leith. In true Gaelic fashion, Allan and his brothers still carry the by name whaler. Allan told me recently that he received a letter many years ago from a fellow in Canada asking if he was one of the whalers. And it was spelled W-A-I-L-E-R-S. Allan declines to acknowledge any Jamaican reggae roots in his family. So, tunes such as these three great Shetlandic melodies we're about to play, Da Full Rigged Ship, Da New Rigged Ship, and Down and Up the Bow are still remembered and played today. The title of the last tune refers to the action of keeping a boat in position in a buoy, or against wind and tide by idling the oars. Works of the great Gaelic poet Will Maclean have been right at the heart of Will Maclean's earliest artistic responses. Seminal works like Sabbath of the Dead, Memorial for a Clearance Village, and Window Visitation to South Uist, all downstairs, are particularly memorable and powerful visual commentaries on the devastating effects of iron clearances. Indeed, so impressed was Will Maclean by the artist's work that he wrote the foreword to the artist's biography, Symbols of Survival, written in 1992 by acclaimed art historian Duncan Macmillan. Hallaig is acknowledged as Will Maclean's greatest work, so it is fitting here to hear at least some of the works, the poetry now. I'll read the translated version here, actually done by the Nobel laureate James Heaney. Time the deer is in Hallaig Wood. There's a board nailed across the window. and look through to see the west. And my love is a birch forever by Hannig stream at her trust. Between Edinburgh and Milk Hollow, somewhere around Ballachur, a flickering birch, a hazel, a trim, straight sapling rowan. In Scrapiddle, where my people hail from, the seed and breed of Hector Moore and Norman by the banks of the stream are a wood. Tonight the pine cocks crowing on Crocht and Ra, there are there above, and the trees standing tall in moonlight, they are not the wood I love. I will wait for the birches to move, the wood to come up past the cairn, until it has veiled the mountain, down from Bain na Lichtje in shade. If it doesn't, I'll go to Hannig, to the Sabbath of the dead, down to where each departed generation is gathered. Hannig is where they survive, all the Macleans and Macleods who were there in the time of Macdonald, the dead and the seen alive. So that's sorry.